You may have heard of Dag Hammarskjöld, the second Secretary General of the United Nations, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, a statesman, a diplomat. But how much do you really know about the man behind the title? Most people see Dag as an austere, serious bureaucrat. But what if we told you that image hardly scratches the surface of truth? That beneath the cool exterior was a man of deep passion, wit, and fire, someone who led with both intellect and heart. Welcome to Decoding the Unicorn, the podcast that goes beyond the history books, beyond the political headlines, to get to the real Dag Hammarskjöld, who he was, what he believed, and why he still matters today. And now here's your host, Sarah Causey.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Decoding the Unicorn, the podcast. You may have heard of Dag Hammarskjöld, the second Secretary General of the United Nations. Or then again, if you're in America, you probably haven't. Like me, you may sort of, maybe remember that Dag could have been a paragraph in a history book from high school or college. But in terms of knowing anything about who he was or what he did, you're drawing a blank. Or you may have seen Mads Brugger's documentary Cold Case Hammarskjöld from several years ago. Perhaps you heard about the weird, super suspicious details around Dag's mysterious death, and you have an idea sort of who Dag was from that, but not really much of anything about his life. A lot of people see Dag as some austere, serious bureaucrat. But what if I told you that that image is only a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the truth? That beneath this cool, composed exterior was a man who had deep passion, wit, and fire. Someone who led with both, yes, a tremendous intellect, but also the heart of a lion. Welcome to Decoding the Unicorn. In this podcast, I really want to go beyond the history books, the mainstream biographies, the academics, the political headlines, and get to the real Dag Hammarskjöld, who he was, what he believed, and why he still matters today. If this is the first time we're meeting, if you're not familiar with my work, I'm Sarah Causey. I have what I call a daytime business-oriented podcast, the Causey Consulting Podcast, and I also have what I call a nighttime, more loosey-goosey, fun-oriented program called the Conspiracy Theories. I'm launching this podcast really to focus on Dag. I've researched his life, studied his leadership, and I just think that he is absolutely amazing. He does not deserve to fade away into complete obscurity or to just rot on the ash heap of history. Dag wasn't just an important figure from the past. He was, and still is, in my mind, a man ahead of his time, a quiet leader in a world obsessed with noise, a thinker in a time of reactionaries. And I believe that his story has never been more relevant than it is today. This podcast is for anyone who's ever wondered what true leadership looks like in an age of chaos. It's for introverts who are tired of being told that they have to be loud and more extroverted in order to be powerful. It's for history lovers, for lovers of biographies, for deep thinkers, for those who know that wisdom does not always come from the noisiest voices in the room. In each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of Dag's life, his leadership, his spirituality, his diplomacy, the challenges that he faced. We'll talk about what the media got wrong, which is typically a hell of a lot, the myths that need to be busted, and the lessons that we can take from his life today. We will also get into modern challenges in the corporate world, the political arena, why more introverts and HSPs need to get into management and governance. I'm also the author of Decoding the Unicorn, A New Look at Dag Hammarskjöld, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that you can find it on Amazon.com if you're interested. Dag was often thought of as some mystery man, an enigma from history. He himself liked the mythology around unicorns, not because he thought he was better than, but because he understood that he was cut from a different cloth and that was all right. He was rare and unique and almost mythical in his approach. And just like any unicorn, there are plenty of myths and misunderstandings that surround him. And I want in this podcast to separate truth from fiction and get to the heart, really uncover the real Dag Hammarskjöld. I intend to release episodes on a weekly basis, barring any further drama in my life or anything that pulls me in a different direction. As I mentioned, this is the third podcast that I'm doing. I'm also a published author. I'm currently working on some other works about Dag. So it's not as though I'm tethered to the desk 24/7 only podcasting. I will endeavor to drop episodes on a weekly basis. Some will be deep dives into history. Others might be shorter, more insightful reflections. But I do hope that you will join me on this journey of decoding the unicorn and hit the subscribe button. Please share with friends. If there's anybody you know that might benefit from this or like it, please share it. That's how the word gets out. You can also find me on Facebook. You can go to decodingtheunicorn.com. You can sign up for my email list if you'd like. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here and welcome again. I look forward to the things that we will experience together. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with others. We'll see you next time.